Hello and welcome to another video in the series Freemasonry and Satanism, number 65, part 3. I'm going to try and finish this book, Dark Majesty by Texe Marrs, The Secret Brotherhood and the Magic of 1,000 Points of Light. It's interesting, as I progress through this series, I'm learning also, but it's interesting that the connection between the New Age propaganda, like a New Age religion, and the battle to destroy the Islam religion and Christianity, both are connected, obviously. They're promoting one religion and trying to destroy another. And then also with society, they're trying to destroy capitalism, and they're promoting a socialistic one world order, which by another name would be a communist country, nation. So they want a communist type world. Now in capitalism, basically you have three groups: the wealthy, the middle class, and the poorer people. And a lot of the third world nations are not as well off as we are here in the United States or those in Europe or other advanced countries. Even Argentina is advanced. Brazil, by the world standard, is advanced. India has been around for hundreds of thousands of years. I don't know about hundreds of thousands, but some of the monuments there are ancient, and like the pyramids in Egypt. It could be hundreds of thousands of years old, or 60,000 years old. Whatever, before the flood. China has ancient monuments. So my point is, there's this connection between the New Age, promotion of that religion, which I've been studying, and we're going to review more material, and this one world order, which has two groups of people. The very elite and everybody else is a slave. And some of the slaves will wind up being the prison guards, the gatekeepers, the masters of all the population for the very elite. It'll be a very horrible world to live in. Diabolical. Insane. Chaos and anarchy is actually what they want. They want a more barbaric world. Don't mean to dwell on this, but I think it's important to understand people are being fooled, deceived, beguiled, and they're thinking they're going to ascend, that there's going to be love. Don't people get it? It's lies. It's a deception. When they destroy capitalism and everybody's property rights, the poor people think they will be uplifted. So that's why, and a good amount of people are poor. That's why the revolutionaries, the deceivers, the ones promoting communism, promise them everything if they will side with them. And they've done this in Russia. They've done this in the French Revolution. They did it in Germany. They did it in China. Look at the Middle East when they're overthrowing the presidents. It's worse off. Ukraine is worse off. So don't listen to what people tell you. See what they're actually doing. So I'm going to just try to go through this. And I'm not trying to read the whole book, of course. It would take hours. But I do want to try to make the point that there is this relationship between the New Age of bringing to the world a new religion, as per the Bible, by the way. And apparently it's a satanic, demonic, Luciferic religion. Pagan. And it's supposed to be separation of church and state. But apparently that only applies to Christianity and the government, but not the pagan, Luciferic, satanic religion, which Horus, the all-seeing eye, is on the dollar bill, on federal buildings. The meditation room has an occult meditation room. The symbolism is on everywhere. CBS or whatever TV shows with all seeing eyes. American Idol with the big eye. NFL kept bringing in and zooming out of a big eye. And all the movies and cartoons and TV shows with the symbolism on the movie there. I have to remember the name of it here. I watch it every day with the, hang on, had a brain stop there. You know, the Texas Rangers with, and in the background, if you watch the show, you'll see the round circle with the star in the middle. Texas Rangers. And with Walker as the star. What's his first name? Anyways, yesterday I was watching it, and the camera keeps zooming up on the circle with the star. If you watch the show, Texas Rangers, take a look at it. And I actually saw pitchforks, like the devil's pitchfork, overlaying the star. I couldn't grab my camera fast enough, but I was completely blown away. They were the characters with the star and the door of the wherever the star was. They have it hanging on the glass of the office door or on the building entrance. Yeah, but pitchforks were on top of it, right? And 2 or 3 times, not once. All right, well, I rambled on enough about what I think there. But when you watch that show, pay attention. What you want? Watch any show these days. Pay attention. I think the mind control and subliminal messages is off the chart everywhere right now, which means they're probably getting closer to this big event that might bring about the New World Order. Martial law, I don't know. Banks shutting down, I don't know. I had a dream. I got to share this. Last night. So I was with this girl, and we were in my truck, and we were leaving Maine and going to drive to Florida. But we were going to take a wide berth and go through the Midwest and just see some sights. Make sense? And we drove for a day and checked into this nice hotel, and everything was great. And we got up in the morning, and nobody was there. And we went outside, and nobody was there, so I loaded up my stuff, and even the streets were a little weird, and it was a gas station, and a bunch of people were in line. So it was actually hard to get my truck up to the hose and all that. But I finally did. And I was filled up my tank, and I went to pay for it. And the guy says, "Where are you going?" I said, "Well, we're on vacation. We're going to just go see some sights and then make it to Florida." And he looked at me and he goes, "How are you going to do that on 1 tank of gas?" I said, "What do you mean 1 tank of gas?" He said, "You haven't heard?" I go, "No, we didn't hear anything." He says, "The bank's all shut down. The ATM machines are cards and debit and credit card. Everything is shut down." He said, "I stayed open. This is my dream now. Just to help people who were on the road and a credit card machine doesn't work. We're just running it through paper cards." And he says, "This is all you're going to get. The whole nation is shut down. You can't buy groceries. You can't buy gas. You can't get any money." And he says, "How much money do you have on you?" I said, "Well, I've been using the credit card, debit card. So I, haven't had any need to have any serious cash on me." And as the dream progressed, the next thing I know is I'm walking down an interstate with this girl. And I'm like freaking out in the dream going, "Where's my truck?" And she says, "Well, they took it." And it dawned on me, and I woke up in the morning, Saturday morning, this morning, and I go, "Oh my God, man, if they shut off the system, credit cards, debit cards, banking systems, everything is dead. Nobody's going anywhere. We're at their mercy." It was an incredible dream, and I don't know if it's a revelation or what, but I got up and I had a tape recorder and I tape recorded what I remembered. Because dreams are fleeting, and the next thing you know, you can't remember. With that, let me get on to Dark Majesty. If that doesn't scare you about the ATM, credit card, even cash probably wouldn't work, because the places would be out of business. They're going to stay open only for cash if there's such a crazy, insane change in society. Everybody's going to go home, get with their families. To pay the price, but enormous rewards. Page 26, Dark Majesty. We left off about the lying completely nude in a coffin. He confides to bystanding members his most intimate secrets of sex. If called upon, he may even give the ultimate sacrifice, his very life. This is where we left off. And then the symbolism from the 3-degree Mason, and the symbol on the dollar bill, all-seeing eye. So that's where we left off. Obviously, there is a price one must pay to enter the exalted ranks of the world's most exclusive men club. Psychological conditioning takes its toll. But the greatest sacrifice made, quite possibly, is the new initiate's independence. Now an active member of a group collective, he is expected to comply with the group's demands and support its goals. His own destiny and future is tied to the fortunes of the greater group collective. This would be the New World Order, folks. He has become the servant of a group, and it is his acknowledged and unquestionable master. So the Bushes, George Bush Sr., George Bush Jr., and his father, Prescott Bush, page 27, was a friend and business associate of these men, including W. Averell Harriman. They were an elite group who helped shape the New World Order. They steered the United States toward a new and difficult international role. So all this is at the citizens of the USA's expense. And it's going to get worse, in my opinion. Much worse. Moving on, President Bush's unchanging allegiance to the Brotherhood. As president, George Bush has surrounded himself with fellow brothers of the Skull and Bones and interlinking related groups, such as the Council of Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission. Indeed, on the very day he kicked off his presidency, Bush signals his unchanging allegiance to the Brotherhood. At his inauguration ceremony, his oath of office was sworn as George Bush's hand rested on the Masonic Bible, furnished him by his brothers at St. John's Masonic Lodge, 71 West 23rd Street, New York City. It was the same Bible printed in London in 1767. This was used in the inauguration of Warren G. Harding, Dwight Eisenhower, Jimmy Carter. These three presidents were all Masons, as is George Bush. Ronald Reagan was not a Mason at the time of his inauguration. However, in 1987, only a few months before his second term of office was completed, President Reagan was inducted into the secret world of Freemasonry as an honorary 33-degree Mason, courtesy of the House of Temple in Washington, D.C., the 33-degree Mother Council. Mother Council. That's an important thing to remember. Of accepted Scottish Rite Freemasonry. I'm just going to be skipping through some of this book here to try to get you to some of the key points I read. As you see, I've pre-read them and highlight them. Got some tabs here where I reviewed some material. There's no replacing getting the book and having all this information for yourself. But here we go. World Conspiracy, a novel idea. With this as a setting, he then says, what if a small group of these world leaders were to form a secret society to bring about economic collapse? This is a conversation with Maurice Strong. It's February. They're all at Davos. These aren't terrorists, they're world leaders. They have positioned themselves in the world commodity and stock markets. They've engineered a panic, using their access to stock exchanges and computers and gold supplies. They jammed the gears. They hired mercenaries who will hold the rest of the world leaders at devos as hostages. So a lot of those people you notice when you see beheadings and killings in Iraq, Afghanistan, Palestine, even the Ukraine, and in the United States when they do those exercises in schools, terrorism things. These are CIA and FBI. They always have those hoods on. They're mercenaries. They're paid people to do this. It doesn't matter what's true, as we read in that one of my last videos. It matters what the people believe is true. They're deceivers. I think that was somebody from the Smithsonian who said that one. I sat there spellbound. This was not any storytelling talking. This was Maurice Strong. This is how writer Daniel Wood described a ride and conversation with Maurice Strong when visiting the ruggedly attractive Boca Grande Ranch. So I suppose that was Strong's ranch. So Strong was telling him this stuff. He said, I'm telling you a story. This was Maurice Strong. He knows all these world leaders. He is, in fact, co-chairman of the Council of World Economic Forum. He sits at the fulcrum of power. He is in a position to do it. So Maurice Strong says, I probably shouldn't be saying things like this. He says, will the planned culmination of a New World Order conspiracy come about much the way the plot in Maurice Strong's story develops? Do the super rich money men intend to someday, soon abruptly, seize control of the world's banking and financial machinery, bringing the planet to a grinding halt until their demands are met? Imagine that dream I had this morning. You're waking up, nobody's in the lobby, people are gone, the whole system's shut down. You were sleeping until 9 o'clock or something. And when you do, that one guy, I was lucky to put gas in the tank. And that was all I was ever going to get. Everything across the nation was shut down. I had 1,200 miles to go and 400 miles worth of gas. Found myself walking. Woke up and said, what a dream. Makes one realize how vulnerable we all are. Strong is well known for openly expressing his dreams and frustrations. Obviously, this man is a true believer. He wants world government and centralized authority now. He's ready to do whatever it takes to hasten the process. The Brotherhood has long been content to subvert and conquer its opposition bit by bit and piece by piece. I was watching a video by Freedom Fighter. You can look it up on YouTube. And another prepper, this one guy had 100 guns or so and lots of bullets, was found dead. And apparently a lot of scientists, or doctors, medical, astronomers, I keep saying this. If you watch any videos on YouTube, on alternate websites, you'll see it continuously is happening. Banksters were dying a few months ago. So, are they right now hand-selecting people to kill, eliminate? Maurice Strong at left has a novel idea about how the conspiratorial society of the super rich can take over the world. You wonder what goes on in the minds of these people who did 9/11. Alright, I'm moving on page 66. And I noticed something else that's just a little interesting. 66, 666. I've noticed when I read books, the page 66 is usually pretty sinister. Now remember, my next series is 66. This is series number 65. So I suppose I should elaborate on 66 and the sinister nature of it. It's 666. Anyways, internationalism, page 66, this book. One world dictatorship, genocide and enslavement of mankind. Go to Texe Marrs' website. Get one of his books, 2 of his books. He's got videos, CDs. Then he'll send you that monthly newsletter full of information. Some of this stuff is so shocking. I opened the letter a few years ago and I go, I don't believe this. He said most of the CEOs for corporations were Jewish people. Now, the only thing I can think about is you couldn't probably trust a Christian CEO to do the evil things that these corporations do. Cooperate with the federal government and create insane, murderous weapons for the government, and spying equipment, and much worse stuff, deadly diseases. So most of the CEOs were Jewish, and of course there's a lot of Jewish people out there, 85% maybe, that according to Texe Marrs or Henry Macow, Jewish PhD author in Canada, who published the book Illuminati, the Cult That Hijacked the World. So this is the Jewish author Henry Macow, who says 85% of the Jews out there don't have a clue. They just want to go about their lives. They're doctors and business people and employees of companies. But there's a bunch out there that are these Zionist Jewish, along with all these people that are high-ups in these fraternal organizations. Knights of Malta, Freemason societies, lodges, Church of Satan, Rosicrucian, Kabbalah people, and a lot of Zionist Jewish people, the banksters, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Morgans, Chases. And that doesn't mean everybody with the last name Morgan is in on it. So, one world dictatorship, genocide, and enslavement of mankind. So all the people in control, a handful of people compared to 6 billion, have this big plot to rule the world and probably reduce the population by 85 to 90%. So I've been reading over and over in documents. And then building a new race of entities, hybrid people, human entities, whatever. New DNA, a new super race of people to re-civilize the planet or whatever. Crazy. But apparently it's part of that New Age religion, which Hitler was into too. Moving on, U.S. Supreme Court ruling of 1911 regarding the High Court's decree that the Rockefeller Standard Oil Company must be dissolved. Now this is the U.S. Supreme Court back then, not the one we have now, where the insiders, the traitors to humanity, are now the U.S. Supreme Court leaders, apparently. Siding for the gay marriage, which is, if you've been watching any commercials these days, it's getting more satanic in nature. There was one right now I was watching where two guys, on a YouTube video, the advertisement in front, and the two guys are in the bathroom. One's got shaving cream on his face, the other guy has long hair, and one guy puts a big heart on the mirror, and the other guy puts an I in front of the heart, I love, and the other one does a little U, and then he puts 2 dots on top of the U, and then the other guy puts a 2, I love you too. But the U with the 2 dots, if you go on your computer and hit Alt 666, that symbol comes up. So it says I love you too, but that U means 666. It's a commercial. I mean, if you're not paying attention, you won't catch it if you don't know. But if you hit Alt on your computer, let's say you're in Word or something, and you hit 666, this little U with 2 dots, and I'm noticing it a lot in the advertisements, like a little secret code word. Then I was at a concert last night, downtown, Friday after 5, and everybody was cheering for the band. I saw one guy doing this with his hands way up, the devil sign. I scanned the crowd. I couldn't find anybody else doing that. Crazy stuff going on, all subliminal. So the Supreme Court says Rockefeller Standard Oil Company must be dissolved at once. Not mincing words, this is 1911. The majority opinion of the Supreme Court emphatically stated, for the safety of the Republic of the United States of America, we now decree that the dangerous conspiracy must be ended by November 15th, 1911. So they saw this. I've been reading old documents. That's why I'm making this stuff, and I've been doing so much research. Remember that word conspiracy, used with extreme good judgment by the Supreme Court. When people scornfully taunt you, and mock you as some kind of conspiracy theorist or nut. So if somebody starts taunting you about being a conspiracy nut, remember that in 1911, the Supreme Court said that the dangerous conspiracy must be ended by November 15th, 1911. The Supreme Court ruling had to do with the massive plot by J.D. Rockefeller to control the world oil business. Not only that, he's the one who took over the medical establishment and forced fluoride in the water all over the country, which apparently, according to a Harvard study, lowers the IQ. Meanwhile, you got Israeli Jewish people who are saying they have a higher IQ than the masses in the United States. And I'm thinking, duh, they're putting fluoride in the water, and a Harvard study says it lowers your IQ. You don't, when the Jewish people over there say they have a higher IQ, they don't mention that they're drugging the population to lower the IQ. God knows what else they're doing with the school systems and the propaganda on nightly news shows and TVs and cartoons and media everywhere. Lies and deception. The Rockefeller family had amassed untold wealth as a result of its establishment of a global network of co-conspirators. This network was greased by and facilitated with money, and in turn it made more money, proving the adage that it takes money to make money. So I guess if you have tons of money, you can blackmail and bribe lots of people. And anybody who doesn't cooperate, you can pay for a hitman. Kennedy, maybe? Anyways, in adding a little dirty ditty that, to make billions, it takes at least several hundred million. While the Supreme Court of the United States attempted to dismantle the conspiracy put together by the international Rockefeller dynasty, and I might add Rothschilds and even the head people at the Vatican and many other people with mafia-type intentions, they attempt and unfortunately did not succeed. Over the years, the Rockefellers have grown more and more wealthy and more cunning in the manner in which they employ their wealth to control the affairs of this world. The current head of the Rockefeller dynasty, David Rockefeller, his son is waiting in the wings to take over, was once labeled by Time magazine as the prime mover in banking that controls the course of the world economic affairs and history. Moving on, Rockefeller himself, through his press agent, admits that he is enormously and all but incalculably rich. Not only is he rich, but such world notables as Japan's emperor and the monarch of Thailand have absolutely said that he outranks royalty. Congressman Ron Paul, moving on, of Houston, the man who first exposed the plot to give us a new money. The financial New World Order is the creation of an elite system of interconnected governments and bureaucrats, which conspire to tax, regulate, and inflate the wealth held by the middle-class peoples of the countries around the world in the name of global democracy. Congressman Ron Paul has made it plain that, in his view, the United States has taken the lead in imposing this financial New World Order. So there would not be the United States citizens who are under mind control and propaganda who do not know the truth, and like that guy from the Smithsonian says, it doesn't matter what the truth is, it matters what the people believe. So that's why democracy works for these people. As long as they own the newspapers and the TV and the radio and all the media, they can program the people. They can demonize anybody they want. They could call me an anti-government belligerent. They could call you, if you didn't give up your gun, a terrorist. And if you stocked up on a few months' worth of food and supplies, they would accuse you of being a hoarder, which would probably be a crime on the law books. And if you don't pledge allegiance to their new God that's coming, some descendant of David, when they rebuild King Solomon's temple in Jerusalem, well, then you'll be declared a heretic or an idol worshiper or something, and the punishment is beheading. These things I say are not jokes. This small group also formulates the policies and sets forth forth the various battle plans designed to bring all things together as the nations of the world gallop furiously toward the sunset of the 20th century. When did Texe Marrs write this book? Published in 1992. Moving on, I think we got here the great work, The Magic of 1,000 Points of Light. I put little tabs here, so I'm just reading my tab stuff. Page 81. So successful was he in capturing the public imagination by repeated use of the phrase that George Bush and his associates decided to establish a Points of Light foundation. As George Bush was saying that 1,000 points of light, which is an occultic term. The Points of Light Foundation was begun with a $5 million grant from the U.S. Congress and the President. So they control the government, so they give themselves $5 million to create more propaganda. Its first chairman was Richard Moreau, formerly the chairman of Time Warner Inc., the company whose logo is an all-seeing eye. Not surprisingly, the logo for the Points of Light Foundation is also of an occultic nature. Take a look at this. Take a hard look at it. And can you see the occultic nature? I'm going to tell you what it is if you can't see it. It depicts the golden sun disk. That would be the round disk with that torch on it. With what at first appears to be a torch of light within it. But wait! It is not the concealed image? Is it not the concealed image of two entities, a male and a female, facing each other? Occultic philosophers can easily recognize these two as the sun god and his goddess. They do this in a lot of images you won't catch. But look at that, look at that. That's two faces looking at each other. Do you get what I'm saying? There's more going on, and it's not going to be good. Here we go. Bush and Clinton, Bilderberger twins. Alright, in my audio tape, The Secrets of the Bilderbergers, I explain how the Bilderbergers manipulate both the Democrat and the Republican national politic parties and their candidates. Investigation reveals that the same moneymen, and I've said this many times, so listen up. Investigation reveals that the same moneymen are supporting both President George Bush and Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton. So the powerful elite with the money control both parties. No matter who wins, they win. This is spite of the fact that the two are theoretically opposing each other as Republican versus Democrat. It's all a sham, a deception. Because they know a lot of people are conservative, so they got to have the Republican Party for them. And a lot of people are liberal, they got to have the Democratic Party for them. And the Republicans tend to be probably the people think, the more wealthier ones. And the Democrats, people think, are more the people with less money. So they can cater to each need to keep the battle going between the two. Control the argument. Control the people. In fact, the election was a sham. The order controls both the Bush and Clinton. Just follow the money trail. One of Clinton's top money men is international banker and investor Jackson Stevens. Stevens, who operates out of Little Rock, Arkansas, has reportedly given Bill Clinton at least $2 million. But wait! Stevens has also recently donated $100,000 to George Bush's campaign. Moreover, Stevens' wife, Mary, was co-chairwoman in 1988 of the National Bush for President organization. Bush and Clinton are in reality co-actors in a grand charade and sideshow of the U.S. presidential elections. No matter who wins the November election, it is the Bilderbergers who will come out on top. Get it? Got it? Moving on, page 110. What is a media Archie? Well, Arguellus tells us that if the New Age community can take over the media, which apparently it has, that's our television networks and our cable systems, if they can take over our publications, our magazines, our newspapers, the children's books and adult books, if they can take over all these media outlets, they control the forces of all planet Earth. Page 110. Dark Angels of Light, 117. As you can see, I'm just going through this book, giving you a sampling. If you really want to read all the dirt, secret information, go to Texe Marrs' website, buy some of his products. Give these people credit where credit is due. I'm just a person who's researching and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And the more I dig, the more I find. It's amazing. Alright, Dark Angels of Light. Fortunately, I am finding that more and more people are understanding that a conspiracy of unimaginable proportions does truly exist in the world today. And I'm going to say right here and now, with the sky spraying and the plagues they're doing and their intentions, and the New Age propaganda published by Lucas Trust, formerly Lucifer Trust, think about this. People can be apathetic. They can probably even think that they'll get through this. I'm saying here and now, if these people pull off this New World Order, if they cause an EMP next week, and shut out the electricity for most of the country, it'll be intentional. But the outcome will be disastrous. If people love their children, family, and friends, and their country, they will stand up and stop this. It's not going to go away, in my opinion. And it's not, the outcome is going to be anything but mild. It's going to be horrific. Diabolical and horrific. You don't want to live through it. They don't want you to live through it. Alright, fortunately I'm finding out more and more people are understanding that a conspiracy of unimaginable proportions does truly exist in the world today. Texe Marrs. Smarter guy than me. He's been studying this stuff for 40 years. I've only been doing it for 10 years. A little over. Recently, I was reading an interesting book written by a good friend of mine, David Allen Lewis. The book, Dark Angels of Light, briefly discusses the existence of what Lewis calls an international network of light. He writes, since 1954, we have been preaching and teaching that there was this loosely knit world conspiracy, a so-called network of Illuminists. Lewis traces his network all the way back to Adam Weishaupt, who began the Order of the Illuminati Light Bearers in 1776. Now remember, the Statue of Liberty holds a big torch. Pictures of the devil, he has a hat on his head, pointed thing, with a fire on it and a torch. The devil's called the Light Bearer, the light being. Whether the Illuminati has one special organization that is its organic descendant, we can be very sure that its philosophical torchbearers are represented by literally hundreds of organizations, which I keep saying, and individuals in many diverse realms. Lewis goes on to state, I have never doubted that such a network exists. Like my friend David Allen Lewis, millions of Americans have become aware that something is amiss. Moving on, they are also now realize that our biased media also regularly reinterpret the news, and most of our books and magazines must be politically correct. To go through some kind of process of censorship to be published in the first place. It takes money, organization, networking, and design to accomplish such a massive blackout of the facts and presents a false rendering of human history. If you go out on the streets now, the masses, the people out there, my friends, family, they buy in this new age stuff, hook, line, and sinker. And they don't realize it's all a plan. And they're going out of their way. You can talk to almost anybody. It's very creepy, you know. They have a hatred for Jesus and Christianity because they've been fed that. They're even being fed that the Arabs are all evil demons. They're being fed that. Meanwhile, Israel, Zionist Jewish people, Benjamin Netanyahu and the like, who say that they hate America and they're going to sell us off piece by piece, and we're the golden calf to be fleeced again and again and again. And Israel's Prime Minister Sharon, in a heated argument in his Congress, said, "Don't worry about America, we control America." So if they control America, and they're supposed to be such financial wizards, why are we sinking like a rock? Unless it's intentional. It is intentional. You have to bring the country down like the Phoenix Rising. You got to burn the old Phoenix to bring about a new civilization, which is what they say they want to do. Moving on, page 121. The Illuminati and its network, a gigantic, greedy octopus. My adventure in investigating the Priory of Sion, S-I-O-N, coupled with years of research tracing the money connection of the secret brotherhood with hundreds of other New Age cults and organizations, has assisted me in comprehending the true dimensions of the secret brotherhood. There can be no doubt that the brotherhood is like some kind of gigantic, greedy octopus. It has spread its tentacles across the globe and operates in many facets and mysterious ways. Alright, just a little sampling here of a chart I see on this book on page 122. The Illuminati, I've got one thing here, banking, international money, central banks, International Money Fund, World Bank, International Bank of Settlements, World's Conservation Bank, multinational corporations, political group, intelligence group, religious group, education group, world peace groups, planetary congress, Lucas Trust, there you go, Lucifer Trust, world goodwill, world union, media establishment, secret fraternity groups, Freemasonry, Skull and Bones, Grand Orient Lodge, Grand Alpino Lodge, Knights Templar, Grand Order of the Garter, Prior de Sion, Rosy Crucians, everything I've been saying. It's right there on the chart. Moving on. Give you an idea what's in the book. On his recent visit to the United States, according to press release, Gorbachev met privately with former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. No doubt they worked out plans for a council of wise men to go public. What Gorbachev and Kissinger and the others do not reveal, of course, is that such a group already exists. But the time is soon coming when the Council of Wise Men will be made known to the world. So you got Henry Kissinger, who's been indicted on war crimes, horrific things, controlling all kinds of murder all over the world. And Mikhail Gorbachev and many other people are going to be our Council of Wise Men ruling the planet, maybe? The public face? The time will come that after a series of incredible, debilitating crises affect humanity and the globe, making all the world's people cry out in unison for such a group to be set up to present solutions to end the bloodshed, carnage, and chaos. Well, you heard it right here from Texe Marrs. You can go watch some of his videos on YouTube and hear the conversations. The most important symbol of Freemasonry are shown above. Note the skull and also the all-seeing eye inside a triangle. The sun's rays coming from the eye and the triangle are called the blaze of glory, reprinted from a Greek book on the Masonic Lodge. People need to wake up. The New Money and a Strange New U.S. Mint Building, page 162. As President George Bush has also implemented a plan for a new money, eventually our currency is to change dramatically. To print the new money, a new U.S. Mint facility has been constructed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The U.S. Mint is built using the principles of occultic and sacred architecture. It is constructed in the shape of a circle with a great pyramid in the very center of it. In fact, when you go to the front gate of this U.S. Mint facility, constructed, by the way, with your tax dollars, you pass through two great pillars. At the top of each pillar is also a small pyramid. The pyramid, or the triangle within the circle, has long been a satanic symbol. It is the very symbol that the Rajneesh, the corrupt Hindu guru who came to America during the 1970s and built a New Age community in Oregon, used to represent his work. It is also the symbol of Alcoholics Anonymous because AA was founded with the money from John D. Rockefeller. Although many people erroneously believe that AA is a Christian organization, although some drunks do get sober through the 12-step program, AA, in fact, was designed by its founders to support occultic goals. Observe, for example, the fact that the name Jesus is forbidden at AA meetings. While the reference is made to a vague God, the God of AA is defined simply as a nebulous, unnamed higher power. He is God as you understand him to be. The witch and Satanist, the Hindu, the Buddhist, and the deceived Christian can all worship and celebrate together in harmony at the AA conclave. Page 178. When the Reagan forces announced that George Bush would be the vice presidential choice, conservatives almost fell over. Wasn't this the internationalist who had pumped for the United Nations? George Bush. The man who, as a congressman, had voted for gun control? George Bush. And who had vigorously supported population control? George Bush. And abortion? George Bush. Could Ronald Reagan, a patriotic man supposedly devoted to down-home conservative policy options, who seemingly was against everything that George Bush and the internationalists stood for, suddenly up and pick this man to be his vice president and sidekick? The ultra-conservatives and grassroots organizers who made Ronald Reagan's surprising nomination possible, so they can upset anybody's plans who tries to correct what's going on in the world, apparently. They had no earthly idea of what had occurred behind closed doors in the inner sanction of Reagan's campaign headquarters. Nor could they have known that William Casey was an intimate and vital link to the upper ranks of the secret brotherhood. I hope you can see that Texe Marrs does a pretty good job presenting a bunch of information that a lot of people probably don't know. Anyways, moving on. They worship a God whose name they conceal. Chapter 12, page 209. Many experts who have studied the political and economic aspects of the world conspiracy are unfortunately totally oblivious to its spiritual aspect. It is important that we recognize the true spiritual nature of the Illuminist religion, for only then can we understand the underpinnings for many of the secret brotherhood's most guarded, closely guarded hidden teachings. Adam Weishaupt, when he founded the Illuminati in 1776, expressed surprise that he should become founder of a new religion. He was an atheist and a humanist goal. His was an atheist and humanist goal, to destroy the authority of the monarchies and the church, and thereby to raise his own small clique of men to leadership and riches in their place. Can you see what they want? They weren't in control of the world, these greedy men. They had to destroy the world that existed. Imagine where we would be today if these people had been stopped. Back in 1911, when the Supreme Court tried to stop Rockefeller. Wouldn't have had World War I. We wouldn't have had World War II. They wouldn't have taken over the Federal Reserve. They wouldn't have done 9/11. They wouldn't have done Sandy Hook. Israel would have been punished for bombing the heck out of the U.S. military ship Liberty. Oklahoma bombing wouldn't have been done. Boston bombing wouldn't have been done. Batman shooting movie thing probably wouldn't have been done. The guy going into the church with the black people and shooting them probably wouldn't have been done. Millions of people wouldn't have lost all their fortunes over and over and over and over again since 1913, when the Rothschilds and Rockefellers took over our money supply. Just imagine the world we would have today, and the free energy and the high technologies that were developed, if they were used for good instead of all the weapons and spying and future murderous tools they're going to have. Can you imagine it? If only. Weishaupt's motive was at first a crude and material one, but when he found that his conspiracy had garnered such tremendous support among those who professed a paganistic, spiritual creed radically divergent from the traditional Christianity. So when you start bashing people out there, they're bashing Christianity, just know that they've been mind-controlled by some very evil people who have evil intent, like the USA Georgia Guidestones indicate. They want 500 million people worldwide, just enough for the elitists to control and provide all the farming and cattle and services and slaves and sex slaves and human sacrifices to their God. And who knows what other insane, psychopathic pleasures they want to get out of humans. Maybe watch them go into battle with swords and kill each other. Remember, they did that in history. And they want to return to that same history. That's their golden age. So when they say a new age, what they're really saying is a return to an old age. He decided that the Masonic philosophy and religion so warmly embraced by his co-conspirators was, in fact, an ideal vehicle to inspire their cooperation and even their fanatic devotion to world revolution. Worship a God of forces, page 210. What therefore became entrenched as the essential doctrine of the Illuminist spirituality and religion was an overwhelming belief in the God of forces. This God of forces is impersonal, yet possesses unlimited supernatural powers that can be accessed by illumined men. That would be witchcraft. The Gnostics, those who know the magical formulae. Such formulae include the powerful use of rituals, symbols, allegory, all wrapped together with an acceptance of ancient pagan deities and mystery teachings. Moving on, I'm not reading everything, just my highlighted paragraphs. Similar to the Hindu caste system and Hitler's Aryan race theory, both of which, like the Illuminati religion, are based on ancient Masonic mythologies, this teaching includes the theory that certain men are, by divine prescription, superior to others. So if they think they're superior to others, and they think that people who are not them are inferior, profane, the Zionist Jewish people call them goyim, Gentiles, cattle, animals. And as one person said there from the Smithsonian, no better than slugs in the Agenda 21 book, I think, that I did in my last video. Slugs. Would you kill a slug? Probably. If they think people are slugs, would they kill 6 billion slugs? Probably. The Goddess of Reason, page 211. The butchers of the French Revolution paraded through the streets, their bare-breasted women, declared by to be exemplars of the Goddess of Reason. So the people who created the French Revolution had all the women paraded through the street bare-breasted. The combining of the notion of man's reason being enthroned as deity, so they want to try to convince themselves that they are gods, with the ultimate symbol of ancient paganism, the goddess. Pictures and paintings of this goddess of reason proliferate throughout Europe and the United States in the 18th and 19th centuries. One of my last videos, I showed this poster I took off a post and made a copy of, and because it wasn't mine, I put the poster back. Wouldn't be stealing things. But it just had a naked goddess woman and all these things on it, and all the people in this downtown cities and everywhere are going for this New Age stuff. She became the protectress of the rebellion, Lady Liberty. So they want to cause this rebellion, this revolution, to destroy the moral and decent people in our society. And we know what's going to happen to these people that they use as tools. They will destroy them in the process also. Today, statues of this luminous goddess of reason are found throughout the USA. One stands astride the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Another is atop the dome of the Capitol building in Austin, Texas. But the most fantastic idol of the goddess of reason, the most majestic statue of the pagan lady which bears the torch of light, who illuminates and uplifts and frees mankind, is found in New York's harbor, Statue of Liberty. A gift of the Masonic Order, the modern inheritors of the Illuminati heritage, the Statue of Liberty was sculptured by Frederick Bartholdi, a member of the Masonic Lodge of Alsace Lorraine in Paris, France. Probably said that wrong. The occultic Statue of Liberty is unquestionably one of the greatest hoaxes ever perpetuated on mankind. In China, the students demonstrators in Tiananmen Square in Peking paraded about a crude replica of the Statue of Liberty. Moving on here, today's environmental movement reflects the adoration of the goddess of reason. Ecological devotees call her by her pagan name Gaia, after the deity of the ancient Greeks. We must protect and love Gaia, our Mother Earth. Some preach she is alive. No wonder the masters of the secret brotherhood have latched onto the environmental movement as a magical pathway to escalating the emergence of their new age kingdom on planet Earth. And if they are as evil, in other words, if they are as evil as their historic actions prove, do these people following this New Age, Gaia, love religion of the pagans and many gods, do they really think these people in power are going to look after their interest? Heck no. It's going to get barbaric, horrible, horrific, abhorrent, diabolical, insane, psychopathic people. Murder, hunger, starvation, cannibalism. Am I making my point? I'm trying to say it's not going to be good and we need to turn this around. My opinion. They practice a pagan religion which acknowledges and venerates the ancient sun god. Yet they claim that all gods are the same, and their ritualistic worship of ancient deities is only symbolic. while Lucifer, the light bearer, is in reality their ultimate deity. That's what it says here. Statue of Liberty is holding the light, remember? Lucifer is called the light bearer. You see it, right? You can find this in any material you want to read on the New Age. Or Masonic manuals, handbooks like I've gone over. Or their New Age pamphlet, which they call the New Age. If you've been watching my videos, this is all becoming very self-evident as I move on past Series 65. This is the hidden esoteric inner meaning of the double-headed eagle, which is now the symbol for Russia. And it's mounted on top of all the Masonic lodges. Of the 30-degree Masonry and the Illuminati, the double-headed eagle. It represents the doctrine that good and evil coexist as divine principles and are represented by symbols. Aleister Crowley, whose last name is 666, he changed the spelling so that it would be 666. Remember, it's all symbolism. Bragged about killing and having sex with children and starting orgies in New York and all that. These are satanic witchcraft rituals. Which, as Rabbi Marvin Antelman said, a lot of the Zionist, Frankist, Sabbatan Jewish people are into all this occult Kabbalah stuff. And they started the swingers and orgy groups thing. And a lot of these Jewish Kabbalah types, most of them are the owners of your porn magazines and industry. These same types are the ones who control the presses, you know, the book publishing companies, magazines, newspapers. These Zionist Jewish folks. And I am saying Jewish, predominantly. But it's a small handful of them, and they're on the evil side. They worship Lucifer and Satanism, and they want to control the world. And it's called Zionism, from Mount Zion in Israel. And they've pretty much destroyed most of Palestine and taken most of the land. And a lot of good Jewish people have published books like Rabbi Marvin Antelman and Henry Macau, Illuminati, The Cult How to Hijack the World. And if you look up Zionism and images, you'll see all the Jewish people protesting this. So there are people that have, I guess, have hijacked the Jewish religion. And they've got now a country with nuclear weapons. And apparently, if anybody tries to stop them, they have something called the Samson option. In other words, they have all the nukes aimed at all the major cities in Europe. And they'll go out in a blaze of glory as they nuke everybody if we try to stop them. Look it up, Samson option. It is the two forces, the opposing heads of the eagle, which are both manifestations of the same ultimate reality. The illumined person, and remember, it was the Jesuit Adam Wuchthoff. And the Jesuits were in cahoots with the Zionist Jewish folks. The satanic Jewish folks is another word for Zionist Jewish folks. And they planned to infiltrate the Catholic Church and Christian religion to destroy it, discredit it. This was in their plan in the things called the Protocols of Zion and the Communist Manifesto. I have these documents. We'll go over them again. The illumined person is considered one who is able to weld the spiritual energies of both sides of reality. So I was talking about Aleister Crowley there, the evilest man alive. Promotes this new age and says, do as thou wilt. Promoting that there's no such thing as committing a sin. No matter what you do. And the people are buying it. I had a friend of mine yell at me. He said, Rick, there is no such thing as sin. You can do whatever you want. You don't even know how to deal with that, right? Such a man becomes a superman. He becomes his own deity, a master magician, a prince among princes, a king over many, the illumined person. The New Age magazine, we went over a lot of these in my 5 of these in my previous videos. You can go on the internet, Abe Used Books, and find these old things for $5 and $10. The slogan in the triangle: liberty, equality, and fraternity. So that's their, was the rallying cry of the Masonic executioners of the French Revolution, who sent 5 million people to the guillotine. So the people who, these are the people who sent 5 million people in France to the guillotine. And here in the USA, if you look it up on YouTube, truck drivers exposed that trailer trucks full of guillotines were delivered to army bases. Do you get it? The Egyptian statue, bottom left, represents a male principle, Father God, Osiris, and on the right is the female principle, Mother Goddess, Isis. And you can see these little goddesses on the bottom here, I highlighted in yellow. This is all this New Age religion. The people who sent 5 million people to the guillotine, who proclaim what they're fighting for is liberty, equality, and fraternity. The secret brotherhood favors no organized religion, but instead recognizes all as co-equal. Remember that. They sent 5 million people to the guillotine in France. That's equal. Yeah, right. This is why on the altars of Freemasonry, either the Bible of Christianity, or the Quran of Islam, or the Bhagavad Gita of the Hindus may be displayed in the place of honor. The double-headed eagle of Freemasonry. You can go look at your lodge downtown if you've got one in your town. You'll see this up on top of the building. You can go on the internet and look up this symbol for Russia on the flag and stuff. You'll see the double-headed eagle. Alright, a call to anarchy. Page 216. We're almost done. You're not going to believe this, but here we go. The universalist nature of the Illuminati religion is actually a call to anarchy. As I've been saying, they want to destroy our civilization here in the USA. And they're about to do it. They're setting the stage. My dream this morning I had, you know, sleeping in a motel, girlfriend, we're on our trip traveling around the country. And everybody's gone, disappeared. We go outside and continue our trip and have a little trouble getting the truck full of gas. And the guy says, well, this is all you're going to get. Everybody else is shut down. No ATM cards work. No credit cards work. No banks are open. No stores are open. There's no gas to be had. No food, nothing. No lodging. He said, how far are you going? You know, I had to go to Florida from somewhere in the Midwest. And I said, the dream continued. I found myself walking down an interstate, the side of the road with this girl. And I said, where's my truck? And she said, they took it. I had a lapse in my dream there. And I woke up thinking, man, what a situation. They could cut everybody off. They've designed the system this way. They can literally switch everybody off. The universal nature of the Illuminist religion is actually a call to anarchy. Aleister Crowley, here we go, the late infamous British Satanist who pridefully called himself the Beast 666. Now, you're not going to believe me, so I better show it to you. Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Robert Anton Wilson, an authoritative writer on occultism and a student of the occult conspiracy, wrote a fascinating novel some years ago called The Mask of the Illuminati. I believe I have that book. Mask of the Illuminati. In one key passage, Wilson suggests that all members of the secret occult society known as the Ordo Templi Orientis, the Order of the Oriental Templars, must sign 3 copies of a very peculiar document. So all the members of the secret occult society must sign a peculiar document. The document is supposedly a concise summary of the group's religious and social creeds. Would you like me to read them to you? I'm glad you said yes if you said yes. There is no God but man. Man has the right to live by his own law. Man has the right to live in the way that he wills to do. So if you want to be a pedophilia, you should be allowed to do it according to this. You want to be a murderer, a thief, you should be allowed to do it. Man has the right to dress as he wills to do. And then there was that article I went over, Bender Gender. You're not going to believe this. I talked about it. Look it up, Bender Gender. School teacher was telling the kids that the boys could come to school dressed as girls, and the girls could come to school dressed as boys. That was in an LBG whatever article that is about them trying to push some kind of legislation or some kind of law that the school teachers can't call boys boys and girls girls. They have to call them students or friends, because we don't want anybody hurting anybody else's feelings, like a transgendered person who is neither a boy or a girl. Man has the right to dress as he wills to do. Man has the right to dwell where he wills to dwell. So I guess if you wanted somebody else's house and you could murder them, it'd be your house. Man has the right to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to eat what he will. Man has the right to drink what he will. Man has the right to think what he will. Man has the right to speak what he will. Man has the right to write what he will. Man has the right to mold what he will, as he will. Man has the right to carve as he will. Man has the right to work as he will. Man has the right to rest as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, where, when, and whom he will. Man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. Aleister Crowley. But this is anarchy, Sir John exclaimed. Exactly, Jones said. It's a declaration of war against everything we know as the Christian civilization. When I started this research 11 years ago, I had no idea it was going to take me here. And I've read a lot of books, and I have about 500 books. I could make videos for a long time, and thousands of authors, material, magazines and books and videos, and starting to be able to focus it, you know, like you're focusing a telescope trying to see something far away. And finally you can see what it is. That's what happens when you read 100 books or more, 200 books. Look again at the first line, Jones said. This is the kernel of blasphemy. There is no God but man. Do you see how that could lead weak-minded atheists to a kind of humanistic mysticism? And I got one more tab here, and then we'll just take a peek at some other Texe Marrs information and end this video, and go buy one of his books, look at his websites, support a guy who's put 40 years of effort into this. I think he was a military officer. The subhuman species, the claim goes, is polluting our rivers and oceans, cutting down millennia-old forests with reckless abandon. And I must say here, they're lying. The people who control the earth were doing this. It wasn't me or you. They were the one who are destroying everything with their big corporations and taking over farming and Monsanto genetically modified foods, destroying farmers and taking over the land, destroying companies and creating Walmarts and Office Depots and Home Depots. Millions of small business owners went under. So they're lying here. The subhuman species, the claim goes, is polluting our rivers and oceans. Their factories were polluting everything. They were dumping the chemicals in shoe factories and clothing factories. They were doing it. They've destroyed so much, they want to blame it on us, just like global warming is not real, and they want to say that it is so they can restrain everything we do. The unfit ones are teaching the children of Earth that they must stay bound to the old traditions. See, that's their problem. Religions such as biblical Christianity, and even spouting horrible philosophy that one's own nation should come first. So if you were an American patriotic citizen, you are, and you say that to somebody, you are spouting the horrible philosophy. According to Texe Marrs, smarter guy than me, why the subhuman inferior species even believes and teaches that world government is evil. These subhumans must be stopped. The drum beaters maintain they are too competitive, have accumulated negative karma. So you try to be a decent, honest guy and raise a family, and you love your country, you're accumulating negative karma. But if you want to go rape and kill some children, according to Aleister Crowley, you're more their kind of human being. They are too competitive, have accumulated, and are a roadblock to fulfillment of the dreams of the masses. And we know they want to destroy, reduce the population, and kill 85 to 90% of the masses. As Brad and Francie Steger proclaim in their book, The Gods of Aquarius, rigid and foolproof control must be established to eliminate destructive competition. If intelligence is to reign on planet Earth, said the Stegers, a system must be devised to eliminate the possibility that those less genetically developed can throw a monkey wrench in the works. So these Lucifer's satanic evil entities that want to take over the planet want to devise an element, the possibility of those less genetically developed can throw a monkey. They need to devise a way to stop us. Sky spraying, HARP systems, spying cameras, computers, monitoring everybody, Jade Helm, Agenda 21, all the other chaos and anarchy, destroying the stock market, crashing the dollar, plagues that they initiate. Pierre Chardin was a Catholic priest in whose writings are found the seeds for the New Age philosophy being promoted by the secret brotherhood. So there are people in the Catholic Church, I grew up Catholic, that are in cahoots with these Zionist, satanic Jewish folks who are in league with the Illuminati, Freemasonic leaders, and all the other hundreds of groups they mention here, fraternal organizations, Satanic Church of Satan, Hollywood, Kabbalah people, Rosicrucians, Trilateral Commission, Bilderberger Group, Bohemian Grove, I could go on and on, Jesuits. At this stage of human development, Deschardin writes, man and the planet are becoming perfect and godlike. However, the question is what to do with those few rebels, troublemakers, and other inferior beings who are unable to adapt to the new way of thinking, required to reach this glorious omega point, toward a world brain, super brain. The Stegers believe that man must give up some freedom in exchange for achieving self-divinity. So you're going to become a god, but you're not going to have any freedom. That's an oxymoron. We should listen to what they have to say, because my investigation reveals that their solution is exactly what has been promoted for many decades now by the czars of the secret societies, the secret brotherhood. First, the Stegers write that while they hope for a maximum individual freedom for mankind, unfortunately, to develop perfect man and perfect world, individual freedom must be limited. Freedom for humanity must remain within the constraint of minimal, essential individual control. So I suspect that means people have to get microchipped, and those who do not cooperate have to be beheaded. And they have to cull the herd of human population from 6-7 billion down to 500 million. And then they can build a foundation and a future of a new civilization on all that murder and mayhem. That's something they should be proud of, to get where they're going by murdering a whole planet full of people. Crazy, you think? Well, this isn't a real organized conclusion to this video. I just thought I would show you some of my years worth of collection and research. This is a book I put together. Some of the documents in here are dated 2009. So anyways, what happened was Rothschild's choice and more Obama's Zionist Jewish to ponder. Got my cell phone in my pocket. So I got this in the mail from Texe Marrs. Swindler's List. Obama is truly a dark, shadowy character from the Marxist mafia underworld. Secret societies are protecting and guiding this man to set in place totalitarian rule in America, telling him what to say, telling him what to do. Under the new regime, it is at last possible to be a real Jew. Benaya magazine. And so in this thing here, Texe Marrs is saying that Jews watching over swine flu epidemic, love of money, root of all evil. Rothschild's choice was Barack Obama, intent on murdering America, has the nation by the throat, is squeezing the lifeblood out of us. Any question in the people's minds that this grand conspiracy to murder America is anything but Jewish, surely is answered simply by observing the names of greedy criminals. There are no Smiths, Johnsons, Rileys, Jones, Jacksons, and Adams among them. Obama has carried out the orders of the Rothschilds and his sub-agent Zionist billionaire George Soros to the letter. There has been a coup d'etat by scientist traders. Observe the top money men in the swindler's list in Obama's household of deceit. Tim Geithner is a Jew. Ben Bernanke is a Jew. Pete Orszag is a Jew. Larry Summers is a Jew. Chief financial organizers. And hold on, there's more. At Obama's side, guiding his every move in the Oval Office, are two more slimy Jewish agents of financial and political intrigue. Obama's White House Chief of Staff, Ram, the cruel Emmanuel, Jew, and Chief Political Advisor David Axelrod, Jew, overseeing Obama's quest to socialize our entire medical system and to set up death panels, to met out enthusiastic to the old and unfit, to mete out the in-out enthusiast. So I guess to death panels to gas people to death. The old and unfit is none other than Rahm Emanuel's MD brother Ezekiel Emanuel, Jewish guy. The new IRS commissioner is Doug Schumann, also, of course, a Jew. Now, when I got this letter back in October 2009, I said, no way. There's just no way, because the Jewish population is a real fractional small part of the population. Everybody in the advisors and controllers, everything can't be Jewish, as he was saying. Anyways, moving on, and just so you get the full picture of the horror, with the dreaded H1N1 swine flu said to be at our doorsteps, Obama has just appointed a new director of the Center for Disease Control at Atlanta. His name, Dr. Thomas Frieden, and oh yes, he's a Jew. Henry Kissinger, CFR sloth and faithful Jewish servant to the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. So he goes on to say, and I'll show you the list here, that all these people and more of Obama's Zionist Jews in power. So a small fraction of our society is Jewish, but almost all of the people in Washington heading up all these organizations are Zionist Jewish folks. And since then, in Bush years and back then, these people have been controlling, like Prime Minister Sharon of Israel, the president, Prime Minister. In a heated argument, you can look this up, millions of results on the internet. Don't worry about America, we control America. So Sharon said it. Benjamin Netanyahu made some nasty statements. So Texe Marrs goes into this pretty deep. So what happened with me is I went and researched Texe Marrs' claims. And I went and looked up CEOs of companies and to see if everybody was really Jewish. I just wanted to show you the thick book here I had. And so I started out with people like Ben Bernanke. And I look up here that he was Jewish. So I just wanted to show you, back in 2009, I really put forth a serious effort into researching Texe Marrs' claim. I couldn't believe that that would be true. I was not some kind of anti-Semite or whatever you call anybody. And when Texe Marrs sent me that, I was like... And then we have Lawrence Summers, another one of these characters in this cahoots for the New World Order stuff. And he was born in New Haven, Connecticut. Summers was born into a Jewish family. So you can see how thick it is here of my evidence. And I will go on Wikipedia. And so I really became interested in checking these people out. Let's see if I can find somebody else here. I just moved forward about this many. Have to look where I highlighted what he was. This was David Miliband, elder son of Marian Kozak and late Marxist intellectual Ralph Miliband, of Polish Jewish parents from Warsaw. Here's him with Hillary. So I put forth a little effort to find out who these people were. Here, Robert Reich, we've all seen him on the TV. Reich was born into a Jewish family, and he attended John Jay High School in Cross River, New York. He attended Dartmouth. Was a Rhodes Scholar. There's a sure sign of inside the Illuminati and stuff. Rhodes Scholar. Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar. So my point is, I did my research, and I convinced myself back in 2009 that yes, these people were in cahoots, and they are of the Zionist Jewish persuasion, not to be confused with PhD Henry Mackau, who authored the book Illuminati, the Cult That Hijacked the World, Jewish author in Canada. And him and Texe Marrs was having a conversation. You can look up Texe Marrs and Henry Mackau, M-A-K-O-W, and listen to their conversation. These are two smart guys. Texe Marrs has been researching this stuff for 40 years. Henry Mackau's published a couple books, Illuminati 1, Illuminati 2, Illuminati, the Cult That Hijacked the World. And he is a Jewish guy, and he says he has friends. And it says 85% of the Jewish people out there are not happy with this or don't even know anything about it. But let's say there's 100 million Jews in the world. So 85, I didn't say 100 million, 10 million. So 85% would not be involved in this, and 15%, which would still be a million or something, are in this world-controlling thing, along with all the leaders of the fraternal organizations, the Freemasonic, Illuminati, the Vatican, the Jesuits, and all these people into witchcraft and the occult, Kabbalah, Hollywood, Bankster, people who want to steal from the rest of us. So this small group of people wants to destroy much of the world. and bring about a new civilization of redesigned human beings. If I had to summarize what I have learned in all my years of study. So I did some work here. Let me see if I can find another one here for you. All right. Christopher Dodd. Not Jewish, but get this. Remember, I keep saying Jesuits. Attended Georgetown Preparatory School, a Jesuits boys' school. So I don't know if he's Jewish, but he went to a Jesuit school. Who are in cahoots, like the Jesuit Pope right now. It's just old research, an old book of... Let's see what else I can find interesting in here. Here's another one that I didn't suspect. Alan Grayson. Grayson was born in the Bronx, New York, and grew up in the tenements. Grayson was employed as a law clerk with the Supreme Court in 1983. I'm not saying all these people were evil, but I'm saying there's this serious high amount of Alan Grayson, and it says here in Wikipedia, Jewish member of the United States. Here's one I found that was interesting. I told you I did my research here back then. Grayson, Fox News is the enemy of America. (2009). Robert Reach, we're going to let you die. We're going to have to. If you're very old, we're not going to give you all that technology and all those drugs for the last couple of years of your life to keep you maybe going for another couple of months. It's too expensive, so we're going to have to let you die. This is what they think. So my point to this little bit of this video, as you can see this, I did a lot of homework when I read of Texe Marrs' claim that all the people running the show, or many of them are of the Zionist Jewish place. And then, of course, the International Swine Flu Conference. Other things that Texe Marrs was claiming. Here we go, ministers. This is back in 2009. I did a lot of research for a long time. That's what I'm trying to show you. German Chancellor, ministers get special vaccine without soft kill ingredients. Can you believe this? Go look it up. So Special Online is reporting that German Chancellor Angela Merkel, governor ministers will receive a special additive-free H1N1 vaccine. And remember, they wanted to try to force everybody in America to get this H1N1 vaccine. The Vaskin vaccine does not contain disputed additives, contrary to the vaccine for the remainder of the population, reports the newspaper. So the more that I research, is what I'm saying, and the more books after 10 years in my huge library, the more that I research, the more that I dig into it. It's 2015. And it doesn't stop there. I have another book. Let's see what year this is. 2009. I'll just show you the front page here. I can show you more and more and more, but this one starts out with Ellen Kagan. President Barack Obama on Monday nominated Solicitor General Ellen Kagan to the Supreme Court. Some facts about Ellen Kagan. She is 50. She's Jewish. Cass Sunstein, Jewish. I'm just going through my book. I haven't looked at this book in years. I just went and got it for this video. So I didn't believe Texe Marrs when he said predominantly these Zionist Jewish people control the program, and they're the ones wanting to bring about a new world order. They're the ones who think that they have a higher IQ, and the other rest of us are animals, slugs, goyim, cattle. Chaim Weizmann, Zionist leader, president of the World Zionist Organization. So all these people that are in the news, see how thick this is, how many let's just flip it over here in the middle. I had all my stuff in storage in Georgia. I'm up here in North Carolina. So 2 weeks ago I went down and got some more of my boxes of my stuff. To try to get this, here we go here. Because these are the things I was talking about. Little interesting news here. In my book here, 2009. Chase Manhattan Bank was formed in 1931 upon the purchase of Chase National, established 1877, led by David Rockefeller during the 70s and 80s. Chase Manhattan emerged as one of the largest and most prestigious banking concerns. J.P. Morgan and Company, the heritage of the House of Morgan, traces its roots back to the partnership of Drexel Morgan and Company, and was renamed J.P. Morgan and Company, arguably the most influential financial institution of its era, 1895. So these people were in charge of everything, and I would say that we can safely say that they're responsible for the state of affairs we're in today. And whatever happens in the future, they will have planned and executed as they say they want. Alright, one more bit of information here. I'm trying to drag this video out, but I did want to show you my collection. Some of the stuff that I've got over the years from Texe Marrs, his advertisements, Ted Cruz, deceiver of Zion, father of North American Union, conspirator with Goldman Sachs Bank, traitor to the American, and puppet for the Jewish New World Order. Ted Cruz. DNA science has unraveled the Jewish bloodline. No one can take away from them their pride concerning their blood and their descent from Israel. All the prophets censored them for it betrayed an arrogant, carnal presumption devoid of spirit and faith. Martin Luther. Now DNA science joins recent discoveries in history and archaeology to present the world with the correct and remarkable picture of the Jewish people. DNA confirms that today's Jews are not descendants of Abraham, but are in fact of Turkic bloodline. Now everything changes. A groundbreaking tour de force by Texe Marrs. Homosexual reprobates in Israel are turning America into a satanic pit and hellhole. Retrograde homosexuals in Israel and America are rapidly changing American culture. This was back in, I don't know what year this was. In Israel, transgenders are celebrated. Tel Aviv has been named the gay mecca of the world. Gays have taken over Israel's military and are committing heinous sexual crimes. Same-sex marriage is legal, but marriage between a Jew and a Gentile is forbidden. Homosexuality can be traced back to the war against Rome and the burning of the Jerusalem by Titus. So the stuff is just going on and on and on. Texe Marrs. I'm just showing you some of the stuff and then I can finish this. New World Order assassins. The world is a very dangerous place, as many famous people have discovered to their peril. Victor Tom reveals heart-pumping facts about some of the most spectacular hits in recent history. Marilyn Monroe, Princess Diana, John Lennon, John Kennedy, Martin Luther King, George Wallace, Bobby Kennedy, son of Sam murders, Manchurian candidates, Columbine school massacre, and others. Were these assassinations and crime the work of lone nut assassins, or the result of deliberate planning by intelligence agencies and mind control directors? Fascinating and eye-opening. New World assassins. There's another one here. Greedy evangelists and religious charlatans lead the world into a spiritual wasteland. A little funny, I mention every now and then. But when I was raising two boys, 9 and 10 years old, they came home from school one day, and they had a little thing inside the book that said Jesus was a mythology. But not only that, I remember back then the kids had Pokemon. Remember those little round things? With all those hideous faces on them and creatures? And now when you walk down into your city's downtown urban areas, city streets, and you find people who look like Pokemon. So if you don't believe that there's some kind of mind control going on and this stuff works, all you have to do is look at the past and look at the present. You'll be shocked, stupefied, appalled, disgusted, and saddened all in one as you watch the outrageous antics of these well-known Christian celebrities and their untold thousands of gullible followers. So a lot of the Christian celebrities, you know, a lot of the people working to debunk the Christian religion. You'll shake your head in stunned belief as you see men crawling on all floors, barking like dogs led around on a leash. A famous woman preacher hollering out to her huge audience, "You need a Holy Ghost enema right now up your rear end." One of the world's leading televangelists loudly declaring that he doesn't want treasure or riches in heaven. He wants them right now, here on earth. A charismatic evangelist telling a packed auditorium he is serving God as a Holy Ghost bartender. Crazy. Texe Marrs. Let's see what else we got here. Dictatorship of the neocon Jews. Just as Lenin, Trotsky, and Stalin in 1917 established a dictatorship of the Bolshevik Jews in Russia, where they killed the Tsar and his family, and then say 66 or 100 million Gentiles, non-Jewish people, destroyed all the Christian churches, I'm saying this from my research, and killed, 60 to 100 million, some say more, Gentiles, Christians, good people. Didn't destroy the Jewish temples and didn't kill the Jewish people. Unless you were a sympathetic, good Jewish person, then you very likely would have your head removed. In Russia, the neocon Jews have done so in America. Their grip is not yet complete. The same people who organized the Russian Revolution are working to do that here in the USA, and a lot of the citizens who are into the New Age and this anti-government revolution, which has been conspired by the government themselves. They want to stir the pot. They want the revolution. I think Nancy Pelosi said, "What cowards these Americans are. We can't even get them to fight back." They want the people to fight back. She said the Arabs had more courage than we do because they were fighting back. Of course, when they fought back, they were called insurgent and they were murdered. So if we fight back now, there will be a lot of murdering going on in the USA. And nobody wants to be more wrong about this than me. And I don't know everything, and if I make any misquotes or say something wrong, leave a comment, and we'll do it to discuss it, and if I'm wrong, I'll put it in my video and say I'm wrong. But I go over a lot of material, and I have to be making some mistakes. So you have to do your own homework. Don't believe what I say. Don't believe what Texe Marrs says. Don't believe what Henry McCow says. Don't believe what Rabbi Marvin Antelman says. Henry Ford. automaker. Alex Jones, David Icke. I've been a couple hundred books I've read. We've gone over many of these. Remote viewing, people leaving their body, working for government black op projects. Psychic research I've gone over. Taking pictures and seeing ghosts in the developed film. As I keep saying, there's more going on than we all know. But we're in a particular time in reality right now where it seems they want to bring about this new world order, and whatever happens, you can bet your bottom dollar they did it. Wasn't a coincidence or an accident like a comet or an asteroid. Wasn't some enemy coming out of nowhere like some Arabs in a cave dropping an EMP. It'll be these people we're talking about. The Illuminati, the Zionist Jewish folks, the Vatican, the Jesuits, the Pope's calling for a new world order. That's in the main press releases. Their grip is not yet complete, but they are increasing its strength day by day. Texe Marrs examines the neocons, showing how they came to power with a coup that ousted President Richard Nixon. Later they forced President Carter out after one term, attempted to assassinate President Reagan, impeached President Bill Clinton. With Bush and Obama, the neocons made giant strides. They now control and dictate to Congress and the courts. Similarly, the neocons took over the trade affairs, seized control of the Pentagon, revolutionized the culture. What will the dictatorship do next in their blazing destruction of America's constitutional and Christian heritage? Alright, well, let's see what I got here left. See, I'm only touching on a little sampling of what I have here. What else did I have that I wanted to mention before I ended this? Oh, this is important, I thought. A lot of people, you know, like when I say President or Prime Minister Sharon said this, we control America. Well, apparently, Snoops.com is in trouble. So what do you think, my friends? Could this be true? This was 8/20/2015, yesterday, 2 days ago. This is from a true skeptic. She never believes anything without extensive research. So this makes very interesting reading and explains a lot. Los Angeles owner Snoops.com owners Barbara and David Milkinson were detained by police today after an unrelated investigation of a Snoops.com editor lead police onto a paper trail of corruption, bribery, fraud at the very heart of the fact-checking organization. Evidence obtained by police has revealed that Snoops.com, which markets itself as the definitive internet reference source for urban legends, folklore, myths, rumors, misinformation, has a history of accepting money and favors from left-leaning and pro-Islamic political groups and individuals for helping them to advance their cause by rigging public discourse and selective fact-finding, deliberate manipulation of public opinion. Please don't believe me. Just thought I would share this with you. You might want to look into it. I know a lot of people who are skeptics keep throwing Snoops.com at me. Okay, then I mentioned the Vatican over and over again, calling for world government. Okay, again, don't believe me. The Vatican calls for world government. October 25th, 2011. There's current press releases also. This isn't just the implication, it's the explicit call in the latest from the Vatican that we need to move to a system of world government. If Vatican cardinals have yet to join Occupy Wall Street protesters, a document released by the Holy See calling for a world authority to crack down on capitalism suggests some are considering it. Can't make this stuff up. I had a neighbor walk up and say hello. So I'm going to finish this video with a recent Texe Marrs newsletter. Will you walk into my parlor? Will you walk into my parlor, said the spider to the fly. 'Tis the prettiest little parlor that you ever did spy. The way into my parlor is up the winding stair, and I've many a curious things to show you when you are there. "Oh, no, no," said the little fly, "to ask me is in vain, for who goes up your winding stair can ne'er come down again." Little poem. You probably know it, maybe. But he takes that into the situation we're talking about with the world, New World Order, Zionist Jews, and everybody else. "The clever but dangerous spider reminds me of the seductive God talk of the Jew. Will you walk into my parlor?" He warmly invites the unsuspecting Christian. "You will find he smoothly says, that we Jews are God's chosen divine heirs. We promise you tokum onum, a remaking of the world." A remaking of the world? I'm thinking of the Phoenix Rising after they destroyed the old Phoenix. "There will be a golden age of peace." The old age was called the golden age during the fairs and all that way back then. So when they talk about a new age and a return to the golden age, it's golden for them. Remember, they lived in castles and everybody else were slaves. "Of peace and prosperity, a utopia. Come enter into my parlor, up a winding stair." In Rabbi Michael Heger's celebrated 1932 book, The Jewish Utopia, the coming world, a term used by the Jews of Babylonian Talmud, will be a radiant place in which righteous Israel and the Jews will sit atop the heap of nations and peoples. Their Zionist king, the one whom the protocols of the learned elders of Zion refers to as the king despots and as the sovereign lord of all the world, will usher in a golden age for Jews, a Masonic millennium of peace and prosperity. All the world's wealth will be in the hands of the Jews. They shall be a divine race. Justice will be meted out and all conflicts arbitrated wisely, according to Talmudic law. And the Supreme Court of Israel in Jerusalem will be the final arbiter of right and wrong. The world will be reconstructed, mended, revised, according to the pattern outlined in the Babylonian Talmud. Judaism will be the supreme religion. Well, these people got some interesting aspirations, if Texe Marrs is right. In sum, the Jewish utopia will be a blissful era of utter contentment, prosperity, and joy for the Jews. But what of the Gentiles? What will be their lot once the Masonic age commences? Gentiles given an opportunity. Rabbi Hager, H-I-G-G-E-R, in the Jewish Utopia, you can look it up, as well as other authoritative references, makes clear that in the rabbi's ideal world, the inferior Gentiles will be given an opportunity to demonstrate their allegiance to the Judaic deity. They must turn from idol worship, including the Christian idolatry practices of worshiping Jesus. If they do, they will earn the right to be called righteous. If not, their fate will be that of the wicked. They will be put to death by method of beheading. They will become donkeys. Another authoritative Jewish religious leader, the late Shabbatic Rabbi Ovida Yosef, chief rabbi in Israel, further elaborated on this topic in a series of radio sermons he gave in 2010. Yosef, spiritual leader of the ultra-conservative Shas political party, a faction that has helped Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rise to power, said that in the coming world, Gentiles may be likened to donkeys and beasts of burdens. The main reason for the very existence of Gentiles, that's anybody who's not a Jew, you or me, and probably the Jews who don't support this Zionist movement, they won't be welcomed in the world either. The main reason for the very existence of Gentiles, the rabbi explained, is that they are to serve as slaves for the Jews. So I make some pretty outlandish statements in my research, but it's stuff that I read. That is, he said, their sole purpose. Quoted in the Jerusalem Post, Rabbi Yosef went on to say, without this purpose, the non-Jew, the Goy, has no place in the world. That is why they were created. The good news for Gentiles, according to Yosef, is that because of their value as slaves to Israel, The Gentile servants will be blessed by God with a long life, so their usefulness to Jewish people will be amplified. Rabbi Yosef compared the life and value of the Gentile to that of a donkey. Each monetary value, but only due to their usefulness in doing labor for their Jewish Effendi masters. Joseph's teachings are supported by the Babylonian Talmud and even the premier religious college of Israel, such as the Talmudic College. Mezkah Hava in Jerusalem emphasized that compared to Jews, Gentiles are a lower spiritual caste, having the status of animals rather than humans. So Benjamin Netanyahu and Rabbi Ovida Yosef here in the picture. Another picture here. The Talmud prescribes the best of the Gentiles, that means all the decent, good people, kill. The best of the snakes, smash its skull. The best of the Gentiles kill. Filthy Gentile women may be used for sex. Gentile women come in for special scalding by the Talmudic rabbis. The Talmud tells male Jews it is their prerogative to use Gentile women for sex without restriction. All Gentile women, without exception, are Nada, Shafa, Goya, and Zona, menstrual filth, slaves, and heathen and prostitutes. Oh my gosh. There is a special section in the Talmud setting forth what are called the Noahide laws, N-O-A-H-I-D-E, which govern the religious behavior of the Christians in the Jewish world to come. Because they worship a false god, Jesus, make him their idol, they shall be put to death. Well, I didn't read it all to you. I hope, if this is true, Marching to Zion, there's another book here. This is a current press release, newsletter with the advertisements for things for sale from Texe Marrs. Marching to Zion, in 1948, Zionist Jews from all over the world came to Palestine and founded Israel. It is considered a miracle by Christians and a blessing from God. But immediately the Jews began a bloody ethnic cleansing, genocidal murder of the resident Palestinians. Suddenly things went murky and dark. Today Israel threatens the whole world with its many nuclear bombs. Its military force is paid for by the USA. They control the USA, as Prime Minister of Israel Sharon said. Is Israel really a blessing, or is it a curse and plague of the world? Does DNA science prove that the Jews to be imposters? Khazar is not related to Abraham and the ancient prophets. Is this new nation, in fact, a synagogue of Satan? Have Christians been horribly deceived? All right, one more, and then I'll end this. Antichrist, the beast revealed. Revealing new book, Edward Hendry, Solving the Mystery of Babylon the Great, Bloody Zion, astonishing revelations about the Pope and the Vatican. In Judaism, the new religion for Roman Catholics, is the Catholic Mass taken directly from the Jewish Kabbalah? Why does the Pope pray to Lucifer? Satanism and homosexuality are rampant among priests. Bible prophecy is seen before our very eyes. So they got this author who wrote this book. So you got a sampling of my investigation over the last 10 years, and Texe Marrs has been in there. I've been reading his newsletters, checking out his website, watching his videos, buying his books, reading his books. That's just one out of many. And I'm concerned about the United States. I'm a patriotic, country-loving man. I like the United States. I love the United States. And I think a lot of people are being deceived. And they've been programmed, mind controlled, to dislike and hate Christians or Christianity. So whenever they do have the big event and they try to blame it on the Christians who are preaching to them, or in the way of their happiness, and they start beheading Christians, I just wonder, are all the people out there just going to go along? Like they've gone along with all the killing of the Arabs, or the Africans, or the Ukrainians, Afghanistan, Middle East, Tunisia, Egypt. I don't know. Thank you for watching my video. Rick Miracle reporting.